Cheech here with Fly Fish Food, and here we have skill builder number 4. We have 3 really cool skills for you. I call them hacks sometimes. It's really making some of the guys mad, but guess what? I'll probably still call them hacks. First one is dealing with flash. Flash-a-boo, crystal flash, all those types of things. We're going to show you a hack to take it out of the bag, nice and neat. Markers are what we're going to talk about next. We're going to talk about perdigons with markers. It's a really cool one. But I think the most important one is a parachute post. We have purposefully zoomed out so you can see what I'm doing with my hands, okay? The flash is a 1 out of 5 difficulty. The marker's a 2 out of 5 difficulty, and the parachute is a 3 out of 5 difficulty.
Dude, that's a big round, bro!
Real quick hack here with crystal flash or any kind of flash that comes in a bag like this. This bag, I've already made a little cut right here with my scissors, so I just cut a little bit. With this lateral scale, I'm usually only using like 2 to 5 fibers at a time. So I just make a little cut right here, and then I stick my scissors in, and I just fish out the number of fibers that I want. Take those, cut them off, then the rest of them stay in the bag. I did learn that from old Uncle Tim Flagler, so shout out to him for that. All right, here we have a dreaded perdigon. Hurts the feelings of purists and fish alike, but we're going to show you a really cool way to add the little black tab if you like doing that on your perdigons. This is just a simple thread-on-thread perdigon, little pheasant tail tail, but I'm going to show you Posca markers. The guys at Fulling Mill showed these to us at a show, and so we started playing with them. So I'll show you how to use it. So the resin I really like for this is the Solarez Thin. Cures 100% tack free, and first thing I'm going to do is just kind of put a little bit in the little slot. If you don't cover that slot up, the marker won't dry very well. So I'll cover the slot up and just nuke that with the light a little bit. Now we're just going to come in here with a marker and just mark up the black spot. I'm trying to keep my hair out of here. That's not going to be possible. So I'm basically just going around in a circle right on top of the bead, giving him a happy little hat. There I've got a nice black dot, and as we wait for that to dry, you'll see that it will dry and kind of go matte colored. If I don't like that, I can come in here and add a little bit more. I think I'll add some more right on top of that gap. All right, so now we'll just let that dry. At this point, I'm going to use the same resin. The reason I like the thin is because it has more viscosity. It's not going to drip as easily, but it's not too thick, so to give that nice glassy body to a perdigon. And then when you coat that, you're just going to kind of coat that whole head and then just drag your resin down the body, and we'll just coat this all at one time. Use the tip of the bottle as a fly shaper. Then once you have it everywhere, you should be able to rotate this and it will form up nicely. I have a little bump of thread under the throat. Sue me. Either that or it was Brigham's tie. So I'm just going to rotate that, and as I rotate, I'm just going to hit that with my light. Back and forth a few times, and now we have a super easy way to put a black dot on a perdigon. I've got a little pheasant tail in the vise, but not because we're tying a nymph. We're going to tie a parachute. I'm going to show you some of my techniques for tying parachute flies, how to tie in the post, how to wrap the hackle, and how to finish it off. But first thing I do, as you notice, I did not put the post in first. I just wrapped it about to where the post is going to be, and then I'm going to put the post in on top of the hook shank If I were to take this post and wrap it like this, it puts a whole bunch of bulk on the bottom of the fly. So I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some synthetic fibers. These are EP trigger point fibers, and I'm just going to tie those in right on top of the fly like that. Then I'll pull those both up, and I'm going to start wrapping around the base of that. I'll see if I can do this at the angle that I'm at, but I'm just going to use very light tension to wrap up the parachute post until I get to the point, and I use too much tension there. No big deal, we'll save it. Maybe use my other hand to brace and tighten it up a little bit. But once you get it wrapped up to where you want it to be, like you just saw me do, you wrap back down to the base, and I'm just going to let my thread hang right there. At this point I have my hackle that I'm going to tie in. Now the orientation in which you tie the hackle is very critical. I have the dark side of the hackle, and I have the washed out or lighter side of the hackle. I want to tie this in so that the dark side is facing me, just like this. Okay, as you can see, I stripped this stem longer than the parachute post by quite a bit because I want just like 1 millimeter of bare stem going up above my wraps. So what I'm going to do is my first wrap to tie this in is going to cross over, so my thread's resting behind the post. It's going to come up in front of the post and trap that, but I can also get the length perfect. So as you can see, the stem goes up past the thread. I just have that trapped in there with one wrap, and with one wrap I should be able to now start wrapping that back up the post, and this will reinforce your post, and then again back down the post. See this little knob right here? You could trim it, but to make it even more durable, it's this little guy right there. To make that even more durable, I'm just going to wrap that forward, and now I've got a really durable tie-in point. Now the thing that's going to train this this fly to sit right is the dubbing underneath the thorax. It's the thing that kind of pushes all the hackle up together as you wrap it on the post. So in this case, I just have some bruiser blend. Actually, it's a really good dry fly dubbing, and I'm just going to build a thorax out of like a rusty brown. This one's called Hidden Treasure, and I'm just going to wrap. Now, one thing that you need to do on these parachutes is on this back side, okay, there's going to be a little notch right there. So if you want a super clean parachute, you've got to come in here and really wrap over the top of that thing. Okay, so once all the dubbing's on there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to now terminate that with one turn of thread right at the base of that thread. Okay, now we're ready to start wrapping our hackle, and I'm going to see if I can get this to work at this angle. The previous one. Now right here I could tie that off and it would be a real pretty parachute fly, but if you need to build a really big bushy parachute, this is where the dubbing ball at the bottom comes into play, and it will just keep pushing that hackle upward. I'm pretty happy with it right there, so I'm just going to hold this in place, and now I'll take my thread. Instead of tying off the hackle up here by the eye, I'm just going to take my thread and I'm just going to bring it in between the wrapped hackle and the excess hackle, just like that. Just 2 turns. And I'm using orange thread so you can see it on purpose. If you're using a tone-on-tone thread, it just sinks in there and you can't even see it. So I just have a few turns, and I'm going to trim off that excess, and if there are any little fibers that are pointing down, we'll get rid of those too. And then I'm tied off. Okay, I don't need to whip finish this. I prefer a different method, but just for fun, we'll trim that parachute the length that I like, which is kind of longer. You can make those any length you want. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a really fine bodkin, and I'm just going to get a little tiny bead of super glue on that, and I'm just going to jam that in right behind the post. And that coats the thread with super glue. It'll seep all in there, and then I can just take my scissors, cut off my thread, and I've got a really clean, nicely tied parachute pattern. If you like these, comment below. Tell us what you want to see. Give us a skill that we can put on here. But also, if you don't like and subscribe, and also send this to 5 of your friends, your fishing's going to be bad for a year. So tell them that once they get it, they're going to have to also send it to 5 friends. This is a new strategy I'm coming up with. It's never been done before. So anyway, you got to share this with your buddies. They got to get better at tying flies. You can't be the only one that's getting better. So share it around. These are free. It's free skills. Like, go to your friend, say, hey friend, would you like some free skills today? They're going to say, well, why yes, I would love some free skills. That's how it goes. Easy as that.